For Razorback fans, all eyes are on Alex Collins, who has himself a choice. Should I stay or should I go? You go 21-24 for 255 yards and 3 scores in your very first career college start. Man, you've earned the player of the game. The Houston Astros won their first championship in team history. But here at Naperville North, the boys soccer team is going for its 3rd state title and 2nd in a row. The crosses are no longer on the A-State helmets. Let's take a close look at what we got here. Now, we still have the initials of the 2 players that passed away, but there is no cross. To college hoops, the 6-2 Lady Red Wolves faced yet another tough road test against 8-2 Nebraska, whose only losses came to 2 top 25 teams, with UConn being one of them. You've probably heard about their team. The trophies are starting to pile up as both the Naperville North boys soccer team and girls cross country team have won back-to-back state titles. And we finish with college football. The Naperville area has been home to many players who are excelling at the next level. With bowl season underway, let's take a look at where our athletes are playing. This has become the biggest rivalry in the Sun Belt. If you've been watching Region 8 sports the last couple of days, you've heard from the players. You know, they weren't kidding. It's a big game, and they were honest about it. The Hardwood Hogs have won their last 3 games by a combined 8 points. Today would be another nail-biter as Arkansas took on Florida. And he said one thing: get in transition, get easy baskets. So that's something they want to do. The state champion Naperville North girls cross-country team has made headlines across Illinois all year long. But now the Huskies put the whole country on notice. When you dominate high school soccer as much as these 2 did, it's no surprise that they're successful at the next level. They're 2 key members of the Chicago Red Stars. It's also senior night here for Piggott, so it's a pretty big game. We're going to have a lot of highlights tonight during sports, a playoff spot on the line, the Rice Bowl trophy on the line, so much on the line tonight.
Touchdown, Arkansas State, and this ball game is over.
That was the voice of A-State legendary broadcaster Bill Keedy, who sadly passed away this morning. Really made a statement. Right now, Batesville, 4-0 in the 5A East, has to be the favorite to win the conference. Reporting live in Batesville, Kamen Entchev, Region 8 Sports. I would have loved to see Griffey go unanimous. You know, when I played baseball in middle school, I used to imitate his swing, the sweetest swing.
Almost.
Jeff Pagan turned 58 today, but unlike most people his age, he's a national champion powerlifter. A journey he started many years ago.
First started lifting weights in Mexico. I got married and my wife and I went to Mexico. We served there as missionaries for 17 years. The missionary that I trained under was actually a head football coach of the local university.
Pagan bought his own weight set from Walmart, and when the coach saw his progress, he asked him to be the team's weight coach. Pagan's team won 5 straight championships, and from there opportunities opened up to travel around Mexico as a weight coach.
Myself as a missionary, this was very interesting. They would always ask me, well, how much do you charge for this training? I said, oh no, no charge. It's absolutely free. I said, just for every 45 minutes of teaching that I do, I want 15 minutes of personal time with your players. And they were all like, hey, that's great.
Pagan came home to Jonesboro in 1999, where he continued to lift weights, but never competitively, until we saw in the newspaper that in 2011, a man his age and his weight class had set the Arkansas bench press record of 285 pounds.
And I looked at that and I thought, well, that's strange, because I was doing 3 sets of 10 at 275 in just my regular workout. So I thought it was a misprint. But I investigated and found out, no, that was the Arkansas State record for my age group and my weight class. And so I jumped in, started competing.
In his first meet, he broke that record and eventually went on to Raw Nationals, where he won first and set 2 more records in the process. Pagan only continues to get better because he's still relatively new at the deadlift and squat weights.
I really hope that within the next 2 years, if I can maintain the course that I'm on, when I turn 60, my existing lifts right now, I'll hold 3 of the 4 possible world records for my age group and weight class.
Pagan does all this in his free time. His day jobs include working at Pagan's Jewelry, driving school buses, and being a full-time pastor. But he's showing no signs of slowing down.
My first and foremost goal is to stay healthy. After that, I would truly love to go to an actual world competition.
Pagan benches 352.5 pounds, his deadlift is 462 pounds, and his squat is 446 pounds. One man that proves age is just a number. Kamen Entchev, Region 8 Sports. Drew Butel is a 10-year-old that has found his passion, wheelchair basketball.
I love all of it. And one of my favorites, though, is going fast. I love to have speed, and I'm very competitive.
Drew's ability to play a sport means a lot to his dad.
Drew, at 15 months old, got transverse myelitis, which is inflammation of the spinal cord. He realizes now that just because he has a disability from his waist down, it's not going to hold him back. He can play competitive sports, any of them, just like anybody else can. He just needs his assisted tools.
What some people don't realize about wheelchair basketball is that some of the athletes like Drew actually walk on their own, but simply don't have enough mobility to run up and down the court, so they use the wheelchairs to play competitive basketball.
It's really weird when I compare it when I'm out and into my chair. It's a whole different perspective. I like being in the wheelchair because I can go fast, unlike I can out of my wheelchair.
I am one proud father, absolutely. To watch him from where he was at 5 years old and not necessarily knowing what was in his future. And in basketball, not necessarily knowing what offense and defense was. He would kind of go out onto the court and go back and forth to now be a leader on the team.
Drew plays for the Synergy Junior Bulls, which is part of Synergy Adaptive Athletics. The team practices every Saturday and tournament play kicks off in December. His coach, Veronica Urban, was a wheelchair basketball player and then decided to teach others the game she loves.
I would like people to realize that this is a sport and it requires a lot of commitment as any other sport would. And it's all about building your fundamental skills and your teamwork. A lot of kids come to the sport not just for the physical activity, but so that they can get that camaraderie and get that teamwork.
According to the National Wheelchair Basketball Association, there are about 2,700 total athletes involved in the sport, starting from youths all the way to the Paralympics. As for Drew, he plans on playing for life. Kamen Entchev, NCTV 17 Sports. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kamen Entchev. At 6-3, the Red Wolves were tied for second in the Sun Belt heading into today. A-State point guard Dante Thomas missing his second straight game with a hamstring injury, but Sean Gardner would pick up the slack. He hits the three, then the defense backs off, and Gardner, you know what, he says, if you're not going to guard me, I'm going to bury another three. He had 5 threes and 18 first-half points. Later, Gardner, with you guessed it, another three. The Red Wolves up 37-35 at the half. Fast forward to the finish, 2 minutes left. A-State up 1, but Mike Hughes hits the huge three. But back on the other end, Frederick Duray on the drive to tie things up at 66. Just over a minute left, shot clock winding down, and Tookie Brown hits a three with the defense in his face to give the Eagles the lead. Last chance for A-State, 10 seconds left, down 3, and Sean Gardner gets a good look, but misses. The Red Wolves lose 71-66.
The 2 shots they made at the end, I would want them to take them again. They didn't run any plays. It wasn't any mistake we made defensively. They just rose up from 25 feet and shoot a three with the shot clock going down, and it goes in.
Drea Gamble and the ladies also taking on Georgia Southern. Red Wolves move the ball well today as they swing it around, and Jessica Flannery hits the three ball. Then more good passing, and this time Brown Haywood makes a corner three of her own. 14-13 Red Wolves at that point. Then Drea Gamble with a slight hesitation and the athletic finish off the glass for 2 more. Then Gamble, with you guessed it, another hesitation move and the left-handed finish for the three-point play. Gamble had 20 for the game. A-State played great defense too. Brown Haywood with the steal, and she's going coast to coast for 2 more. She had 17 as A-State forced 17 turnovers. Late in the game, Kylie Ladd hits a jumper to celebrate her 19th birthday. The Red Wolves win 77-54 to go to 10-0 in conference and have a school record 20th straight home win.
Another good win. They, as expected, after their night, we expected to see zone majority of the game as we did, and thought we handled a lot better tonight. Our movement was better.
To the other side of the state, the Razorbacks hosting Texas Tech in a Big 12 SEC Challenge showdown. Aaron Ross won an Arkansas State title at Parkview when he took on Dusty Hannas and the Hogs. The Texas Tech transfer First half, Hannah's with a nice cut and the finish. You know he'd be hitting threes as well. Big triple right here. Hogs up 1 at the half. Hannah's had 21 in the half, 25 for the game. Tech hanging around though. Ross with a bump in the bucket. He'd have 14 and 9. The game would head to OT. And Moses Kingsley with a board in the bucket of his own. He had 17 and 10. All his points came in the second half. Later in the OT, Anthlon Bell for 3, of course. The Hogs dominate the overtime and win 75-68.
What can I say? Another overtime game, and we came up on the right side of the, I guess, the column, so to speak, and it's a tribute to our guys.
To football, Darian Griswold representing A-State at the Senior Bowl, while Brandon Allen, Jonathan Williams, and Sebastian Tortola were the Razorback players, as all of them tried to show the NFL scouts what they're made of. The Cowboys' Jason Garrett also coaching the north side. Dak Prescott was the big star as here he delivers a strike for the TD. The Mississippi State QB was the game MVP with 61 yards in that score. The A-State and Arkansas guys were pretty quiet except for Brandon Allen, who played great. A strike right there for Allen. He threw a game-high 106 pass yards. Later, more Allen, and again, he'd go down the field. This is what they look for in the NFL. Down the field passes. He completed 7 of 10 passes for the game. The South team was in control throughout. Fourth quarter, Alabama running back Kenyon Drake, the backup, and he's just so good though, puts the game out of reach with a touchdown. The South team wins 27-16. So a huge, huge weekend for the Razorbacks. The Red Wolves, it's kind of odd. You know, they've beaten the good Sun Belt teams. They've beaten Little Rock, Georgia State, and they happen to lose to the bad teams, App State and Georgia Southern. Kind of crazy.
It's supposed to be the other way around.
It's supposed to be, but you never know. That's sports.
That's sport. You never know.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kamen. And we also have a special treat to celebrate when we come back.
Hey everyone, I'm Kamen Entchev. Take the Chicago Cubs in the pros or Alabama in college football. It's hard to repeat as champion, but in high school soccer, that's exactly what Naperville North is trying to do. The Huskies hosting Mattia Valley in the first game of sectionals. Opening minutes, Ethan Harvey corner, a few North touches, but Gandhi Cruz with the great save to keep things scoreless. A few minutes later, North still on the attack. Colin Iverson with a rocket, but Cruz with another great reaction, saving it off the bar. Some great goalkeeping in this one. Joey Donovan has a go, but Tommy Welch with a diving save. The game scoreless at the half. Second half, Ty Conrad fights off the Mustangs defense and finds Jack Berry for the opening goal. The Huskies are fired up. Later, it's Berry on the distributing end to Ian Guppy with the Lionel Messi-like placement for the goal. North wins 2-0, advancing to the sectional championship for the 4th straight year. Naperville Central taking on Plainfield Central in the other semi. About 3 minutes in, Nate Zane's throw-in finds Cameron Strang's head onto Zach Cokes, who capitalizes with a great finish for the opening goal. A few minutes later, this isn't a replay as another Zane throw-in. This time Strang gets his foot on it and Nico Korupmitri taps it in for a 2-0 lead. Opening minutes of the second half, Jimmy Kalkofen with a nice run. He's in on goal. The goalie saves it, but Ryan Coleman pounces on the rebound for the 3rd goal. The Red Hawks get the shutout and will play Naperville North in a rubber match for the sectional title. On the volleyball as regionals are underway. Neuqua Valley taking on Plainfield Central in a matchup of Wildcats. Opening set, Plainfield Central sets it up, but the Neuqua combo of Rachel Pooh and Faith Johnson say not in here with the block. Neuqua takes the opening set 25-17. Tight second set as Johnson with the power for the kill and a 12-11 lead. Later, 26-25 Plainfield, set point, and Taylor Landfair doesn't miss with a big kill of her own. Third set, 25-all, good Neuqua defense. With the second time around, it's Landfair with the perfect touch for a 26-25 lead. But Neuqua battles back, and on its own match point, Plainfield can't quite handle Shannon Skrid's spike. Neuqua wins a tight 3-set match, moving on to play Bennett. Naperville Central hosting its own regional against Yorkville. Some good Sarah Shank serving in this one, and some defense too as Grace Wishart with the block. The Red Hawks take the opening set 25-15. Second set, more of the same. The Central defense leads to a Wishart kill. Central on cruise control in this match. Shank with a 6-point serving streak at this point. And watch this. Bump, set, and then a spike. Johanna Havenar puts it away. Central wins in straight sets to advance to the regional final. That's sports. Kim, back to you.